Here's the multifamily dream team. Here's the thing. What I'm telling you guys here is there's nobody in this room that's got it in them to run an entire apartment building all by themselves. I'm sorry to say that. Not even me. I'm really bad at a lot of parts that it takes to run an apartment building. Justin's really good at stuff I'm not, right? And the thing is that if you build a team that's robust and it's different in a lot of ways, that has differences in its skill sets and differences in its background and its training and everything like that, you guys can put together a phenomenal dream team. Not a really good team, a dream team to buy an apartment building, okay? So let me give you guys the 4 team members. You guys ready? You guys want to hear the 4 team members? Because here's the thing. All of you are all one of them.
Hey guys, my name is Matt Faircloth, and I've been a full-time real estate investor for 14 years. BiggerPockets is proud to present its first docu-series, Fair and Square, a look behind the scenes of owning an apartment building. This docu-series is about a 198-unit apartment building that we own in Fayetteville, North Carolina. You're going to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. You're going to see how we acquired the property, see how we raised the money for the property, and you're going to see the challenges that we had and what we did to get around those challenges to create success. You're going to learn a lot here, so check it out. This is Fair and Square.
Here's the first one. I know I'm in the South, so this one will speak to all you guys. That's the hunter, okay? Right? So the hunter is the one that's tenacious, okay? This is the one that's going to go and get told no 17 times so they can get told yes the 19th time, okay? Right? And this is the one that's also super well networked in their community, that knows lots of people, that knows who all the brokers are, that knows the good neighborhoods, the bad neighborhoods, okay? That knows where the good apartment buildings are, that knows you want to own an apartment building on that side of town because they just built a Starbucks and they're about to build a Amazon warehouse, right? Whatever it is. So this is the person that finds the asset, networks with the brokers, and has the inside track, and knows all the players that sell these types of real estate. The hunter is the one that finds the initial seed that turns into a deal, okay? The hunter is tenacious, that knows lots of people, and is well networked, and it's okay getting the door slammed in your face. Now, here's the one that's my favorite, because you've got, let's look at what we have here, right? We've got a piece of real estate. We got a plan. We got a bunch of money to go into it, right? It's all theoretical, hypothetical, a bunch of nothing, right? It needs something to bring it to fruition, to manifest that plan into reality, okay? This is the hammer. The hammer is the person that brings the business plan to fruition, that's going to put the contractors in a headlock and is going to go out and talk to the property manager on a daily or weekly basis on conference calls and say, why is leasing at 70%? Why have you only signed 2 leases this month? Our goal is this, right? So the hammer is maybe someone who's got a little more stumbatz, a little more that's willing to call people out. Sorry, I'm from the Northeast. So that's willing to call people out and willing to implement the plan that's written by this person and be a custodian of this person's money and make the deal this person worked their ass off to find come to fruition. You have to develop solid protocols and ways to make sure that I's are getting dotted and T's are getting crossed. Things like having somebody local, because we're not local. We live 9.5 hours north of here, right? But we're working with Dan the man with the plan, right? Dan the man is going to be walking our apartment complex once a week and spot checking, looking for little things. You guys need local boots on the ground. If you decide to buy a property in Oklahoma, that's okay, right? That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But have a local set of boots that's able to go in there and check it for you. So that's why I got Dan the man, right?
We had a few great meetings at the leasing office right away as soon as we got here. First meeting with our site manager. And she was able to give us the details on a lot of things just happening on the site, things that you don't always get from a weekly phone call. One of the first things I do every time I come to a site is walk it, because I like to see the condition of the property. I like to check and see what hazards there are there safety issues, how is our site manager taking care of our property, how is the maintenance team taking care of it, is there trash all over, are the couches leaning up against the dumpsters, is there broken glass, broken windows, are there tenants with grills or other things that they shouldn't be having. It gives me a sense of how closely our management team is managing our tenants, and it gives me a sense of what is actually going on in the property. And they knew we were coming, so they probably did a little bit of a cleanup, and so you figure that. So sometimes we do unannounced pop-in visits just to get a sense of what's really going on. But so when they know we're coming, they'll clean up a little bit. But even so, I like to walk around all the buildings, and it takes a while. For this property, it could take up to an hour to walk around every building, but gives me a solid sense of, potential CapEx issues. Do we have things falling down? Do we have buildings deteriorating? Do we have projects that we didn't notice before, or maybe something happened over the last month since I was here, wind damage or a tree fell or something like that? And it just gives me a sense of the overall status of the property and where we're going to be spending some money over the next few months.
So when I walk units, I'm very, very detailed and finite and looking for issues. And that's, so we're gonna walk some apartments. I'm gonna look for little microscopic things that I can find and gonna try and catch issues, because you also have to keep your contractors honest. So try and find something to get to make sure they know that we're looking. Even if it's a little, hey, can you touch that up right there? Just something. So that they know that I'm at least watching their work, and they've got to keep their standards high and their quality high. So in some ways you have to try and catch a contractor on something so that they know you're looking.
There's the brain. It doesn't mean you're necessarily smart. It means you're really good with numbers. And if you're someone who's not going to get lost in spreadsheets and things like that, the brain is the person who takes this deal this hunter finds and says, hey, this is a 30-unit multifamily opportunity. The brain is the one that runs it through all the screening tools and acid tests the property and calls all the other multifamilies around the area and finds out what they're charging in rent and finds out what the rules are for raising taxes on multifamily property and does the digging that it takes and builds the business plan that it takes to run a multifamily asset, okay? This is the scientist. This is the person that doesn't get bogged down in details, that's willing to stay in an Excel spreadsheet for an hour and a half.
Just looking for just things you see on the exteriors. Remember we were talking about just little details. Like I'm missing a shutter right there on that building. Now our maintenance staff might see that, but they might not. Like they just might be used to being out here all the time and they just don't even notice and looking at finite details. But I want to look at the global presentation of the complex. And when somebody drives to the site for the very first time, they don't see that, because the maintenance guy here might not see it, but we do. So I kind of look at I try and look at this property with fresh eyes whenever we come out and everything like that. So I'm seeing that we're missing a shutter. That's there. We talked about blinds missing.
We're looking for anything
overall
out of
cleanliness.
place. Yeah, anything that doesn't look like it belongs, or anything that's, any safety issues. Like Matt said, blinds. Sometimes we get window screens that are falling down. Sometimes we'll get
car with a flat tire.
Yep.
But if I see that, that's an issue. Let's turn that in. That looks like crap.
Sometimes we get a broken window here or there. Things that need to be repaired. We've got a window screen over here that's fallen off a little bit. Just little things that probably the day-to-day site managers they miss, or they grow used to seeing. And we want to take care of that. And we, being fresh eyes, we want to note that. Just little corrections, just the details. So I have a guy who reports to me. He'll come through, take photos. He uses an app, fills out a report, and that comes to me. And then I'll sift through it and see if there's anything that we haven't addressed previously, or things that we want to remind our maintenance staff on. And then I'll talk to our site manager about it. So he just works directly with me.
It's just good to have local eyes on a weekly basis on the complex. It's not something we can do. It's something that the property manager is doing also, but it's also good to have another set of eyes that's not the property manager, that's really just keeping an eye on the property manager, because things like missing a shutter or window blinds out of array, or just a little bit of extra trash on the complex, the property manager might say something like, oh, we'll get to that when we do, get to that in a week or two. But if we're aware of it, we can point it out to them. We can point it out and say, hey, I need this fixed immediately because I was just made aware of this. So it's a matter of checks and balances, and it's not because they're dishonest. It's just because people are busy. They tend to focus on one thing and not everything, and so it lets us keep an eye on things that they might not be putting day-to-day attention to. Just coming out and doing regular site walks.
Okay. Next, the money. Now, this person's either the one that writes the check, but more likely the person that's super networked, that runs lots of events, that knows lots of people with money, that knows everybody, that's super excitable and is a good salesperson, that can go forth and say, hey, I've got a 40-unit apartment building. Hey, here's the business plan for this 40-unit apartment building, and we can make this much of a return on investment on it if we give investors 70% equity and we, cut it up this way and we sell it in 5 years, yada, right? This money person is the one to go out there and take it to their network and say, look what I've got. Wouldn't you love to invest in this? And also can probably negotiate bank loans, knows how to talk about things that are super complicated and make them sound super simple. okay? The salesperson, but also the person with integrity that knows how to sell and knows a lot of people. That's the real estate team that I believe that it takes to run a multifamily property. You're missing one of these elements, it's likely not going to work. If you can fit yourself into one of these holes, okay, and even if you're not even if you maybe don't see yourself as like the most awesome, brain person on the planet or something like that, if you think you're pretty good at this, then become great at it. If you really want to buy multifamily, give up on the idea that you have to do all these things. Okay? Become great at one of these and find somebody else in this room that raised their hand and build a team. That's how you do it. Okay? It is not done by yourself. It is done with a group of really, really strong people, and not C-level people or B-level people, but A-plus level people that you trust, that you would lay yourself down for, okay? That you would know would be custodians of other people's money for you, along with you, and that you trust, bottom line, with a capital T. Coming up next on Fair and Square.